Today, with all the technological advancement in medicine, 1 in 3 people still dies from heart disease and stroke. Chronic inflammation is virtually everywhere, making you tired, painful, increase your risk of this cardiovascular disease, and makes your body age faster. If this isn't enough, we also have an epidemic of depression and ADHD. What if there was one supplement that could target all these 3 issues simultaneously? Many people are taking it every day, but they are taking it in the wrong way, making 3 crucial mistakes. So they see no benefit or even harming themselves. To ensure that you are not one of these people, you'll discover what the experts are doing and taking. Dr. Rhonda Patrick, Dr. Peter Attia, and Dr. Andrew Huberman. And I'm also going to share what I do with my clients and what I found in the last 16 years of research of this fascinating supplement. Can you guess what it is?
If you had to do your top 3, your superstars of nutrients for the brain and body, what would you put in alongside them?
Omega-3, the marine omega-3 fatty acids. So these are found in marine types of, animals, fish, cold water fish, fatty fish.
I take EPA and DHA, so I take fish oil.
Dr. Andrew Huberman speaks about his experience.
So I take over-the-counter fish oil. I know I feel better because I've done the experiment of going on and off. My mood is better. My joints feel better. I just feel better. And I like to think that my platelets are slipperier and they're cruising through any little obstructions in my veins or arteries. That's the image I have in my head.
Dr. Huberman suggested omega-3 impact on his platelets because omega-3 reduces his inflammation levels. Chronic inflammation is a destructive process that on its own increases the risk of death from any cause. For example, this study found that chronic inflammation was associated with twice the risk of sudden cardiac death. In addition, inflammation affects your mood, your pain levels, your swelling, and the risk of cardiovascular disease and the rate of aging. But why would omega-3 and oil even affect all of that? It sounds too good to be true. This is what happens. That's important. Your body has 3 main inflammation pathways. Cytokines. Cytokines are local, mini hormones that control the aggressiveness of the immune system. The cortisol mechanism, on which steroids drugs are working, and another mechanism called eicosanoids. And eicosanoids is controlled by the fat that you eat. The fat that you eat control whether this pathway will lead to more inflammation or less inflammation. And omega-3, comparing to how much omega-6 you get, control this inflammation mechanism. So as you can see, the fat that you eat gives you control over your level of inflammation. And this is why you're going to see today experts try to achieve a level that is called omega-3 index.
You have a biomarker that I can use to say I'm taking too much, I'm taking too little, I'm treating to a red blood cell membrane concentration of EPA and DHA of about 12%.
Understanding this, how this mass consumption of omega-3 affects directly your inflammation level, can explain why high omega-3 intake can help you live longer than the rest of the population. Let's hear Dr. David Sinclair, aging researchers from Harvard.
The fish oils, those are very important for inflammation. And it turns out one of these molecules activates SIRT1.
Dr. Rhonda Patrick speaks about omega-3 and longevity.
In the case of Bill Harris's work, he's measuring the omega-3 index in people and then looking at their mortality risk. And what he has found is that people that had a omega-3 index of 4%, or lower, they had a 5-year decreased life expectancy compared to people that had an 8% omega-3 index. Big difference there, right? 5 years life expectancy. But here's the really interesting thing. And he also looked at smokers. Smokers that had no omega-3 were like the worst of all. But smokers that had the high level, like smokers that were taking their fish oil or eating fish or whatever it was they were doing to get them up to 8%, they had the same life expectancy as non-smokers with the low omega-3 index.
In other words, omega-3 consumption is anti-smoking. It offsets the increased risk of death of smoking. But if you don't smoke, as a cool bonus, it will give you 5 extra years of life. Besides reducing inflammation, omega-3 can reduce your aging rate, increase your longevity, and even help you to lose weight. How? By the following 3 mechanisms. This is taken from my longevity course.
First one is omega-3. You're the supplement experts. What can you say? How does it affect aging, Rimon?
Yeah, technically speaking, it affects 3 longevity pathways. PPR alpha, I'm going to touch this in a second. The second is inflammation.
The third longevity mechanism is omega-3 improves insulin sensitivity.
But my favorite one is the PPR alpha, because this PPR alpha is a longevity mechanism that also helps your body to burn fat. So in essence, omega-3, I've been using it with my weight loss clients. It's a fat that helps to burn fat.
Now, even if you are convinced about the benefits of taking omega-3, you are not in the clear yet. There are 3 major mistakes most people make. Let's cover them right now, one by one. And we also gonna discover the brands the experts are taking right now, and we even gonna touch the plant-based omega-3 supplements as well. This is the first mistake, taking the wrong amount of omega-3. Let's hear how much the experts are taking one by one. As you would gonna see in a second, they separate their dose to EPA and DHA. These are the 2 active types of omega-3. But instead of using confusing terminology, you can simply substitute EPA and DHA as if they said marine omega-3. So this is Dr. Peter Attia.
So I take fish oil. So by taking 4 of these capsules a day, I'm taking roughly 2 grams of EPA a day and probably 1.5 grams of DHA.
So Dr. Peter Attia takes in total 3.5 EPA plus DHA. In order to achieve this, what we mentioned before, this omega-3 index, the saturation of omega-3, in order to reduce inflammation, which reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease and plaque formation. This is the exact test Rhonda Patrick mentioned before in regards to the smokers study. Do you remember that? The reason Peter Attia targets 12% is because he says that he has a cardiovascular disease in his family, and 12% omega-3 index shows an optimal protection against this very disease. Now let's hear from Dr. Rhonda Patrick, how much she takes.
So I take 4 grams a day. I take 2 in the morning, 2 grams in the morning, and I take 2 grams in the evening. I take my EPA in the morning, and I take my DHA in the evening.
Rhonda said that she takes 4 grams in total. Now let's hear from Dr. Andrew Huberman.
My understanding is that we need to hit a threshold level of EPA in order to derive these important benefits. Yeah, I try and get 2 grams per day of EPA from supplementation. I made that decision mainly based on the data that I'm aware of, looking at comparison of people doing that anywhere from 2 to 4 grams of EPA per day compared to SSRIs. The data are, by my read, are remarkable.
Now let's summarize how much omega-3 the experts are taking. So we've got Peter Attia, 2 grams of EPA and 1.5 grams of DHA, Rhonda Patrick, 2 and 2, and Huberman takes 2 grams of EPA, and he did not mention how much DHA he takes, but probably he takes some. Most people take much lower amounts, missing all the maximum longevity benefits. So the first mistake most people are making is taking the wrong amount of omega-3. To avoid this mistake, we need to learn how to read the label properly. Here is how. First, we need to focus on DHA and EPA. These are very specific types of omega-3, and even on the fish oil label, if you're going to look at your product, you're going to see total omega-3. That will include other omega-3 that are not DHA and EPA, the active ingredients. So this is a product that I buy. As you can see, the total omega-3 is 1.6 grams per teaspoon. That includes both EPA, DHA, but other non-essential omega-3s. So I ignore this number completely and only focus on DHA and EPA. To summarize, based on these experts, which is verified by my research since 2007, most people need 2 grams of EPA per day, accompanied by about 1 to 1.5 grams of DHA. And for maximal protection against cardiovascular disease in high-risk groups, the dosage may need to be increased up to 4 grams of EPA per day. In this 2018 study, it has been shown to reduce heart attacks by 25%. Of course, always consult your doctor. These amounts are probably much higher than what most people take. And let me remind you, most people are taking oxidized omega-3, or at least take partially oxidized omega-3. This is the second mistake most people make that you need to avoid. Oxidized omega-3 has a change in its structure, which makes it a defective form of omega-3, a damaging form. When you consume oxidized omega-3, it actually may increase inflammation levels. There is a reason why bad fish smell so bad. Your body doesn't want you to consume oxidized fish oil. For example, this 2013 human study compared fresh omega-3 versus oxidized omega-3 and measured the impact on human health. I'm quoting, "The oxidation level of omega-3 fatty acid supplement commercialized in capsules may be a risk to consumers' health. The ingestion of less oxidized omega-3 supplements reduced circulating triglycerides, meaning fat in the blood, and cholesterol levels, as opposed to the highly oxidized omega-3 capsules, which had a negative effect on cholesterol levels, meaning you get the opposite, negative effect if it's oxidized or unoxidized. What's the chances that your omega-3 is oxidized too? Let's read from this 2016 study. Here, the researchers examined oxidation in 32 different products of fish oils. What did they find? I'm quoting. Only 3 of the 32 fish oil supplements contain quantities of EPA and DHA that were equal or higher than the label's content. Specifically, 70% of the products tested contained less than 2/3 of advertised omega-3 on the label. Now you may wonder, do these companies lie to us? Not exactly. The omega-3 content drops below the label number because of the oxidation inside the package after the manufacturing. You know, when the omega-3 sits on the shelf in the store or in the warehouse. This oxidation, in essence, destroys the omega-3, but also delivers negative health benefits that they did not touch in the study that we touched before. And the researchers concluded the vast majority of supplements exceeded recommended levels of oxidation markers. What does it mean? That if you do not verify that your fish oil is fresh, you're pretty much gambling on your longevity benefits and on your life. And the odds are worse than if you go to a casino. So how do you avoid this problem? How do you make sure that your fish oil is not oxidized? In fact, how do you make sure that your fish oil is 100% fresh at the time it arrives at your house? I'm going to show you today an easy way to avoid the entire issue. Let's discover the omega-3 brands the experts are taking, and I'm going to show you what I do and what I take personally. Peter touched the brand that he likes.
So I use Carlson's EPA and DHA. I can't remember exactly which one I take. It is the highest EPA version that they have.
He likes capsules by Carlson. I found it interesting because we both like Carlson for omega-3. But the issue, though, is that as good as the quality of their fish oil, Carlson cannot control the oxidation of their capsules once they leave their warehouse. Hence, I prefer the liquid form, and I'm going to explain that in a second. Rhonda seems to agree with me. Let's discover the brand that she recommends.
There's a really good fish oil brand called Metagenics, and they make something called Omagenics, and it's a liquid. Oh. And you do like 1 teaspoon of that, and that already gets you like above 2 grams.
So Rhonda recommends Omegagenics by Metagenics in a liquid form. And again, I agree. The only issue is the price. Omegagenics is very expensive, currently priced at $63 for a very small bottle of 150 milliliters. I prefer the more affordable Carlson in liquid form, which from what I have seen in real results with clients and also with my wife after her stroke, delivers better results over capsules. If you prefer capsules, then Omegagenics that Rhonda mentioned is a very good option simply because you can buy it directly from them without having it sitting in a store. Now, there are nuances, critical nuances that you need to know how to select unoxidized fish oil in liquid and capsules. This is again from my course.
Tell us a little bit about the tips in terms of oxidized and unoxidized fish oil that you could recommend to people.
You have 2 options. One is to buy the glass container and in liquid form. If you buy that and from a reputable company, what they do, they put something that protects the oil from being oxidized. But the moment you open it, you have to keep it in the fridge and you have to consume it within 4 weeks. If you have to choose capsules, then I would buy directly from the company, not necessarily from the store, because this way I would make sure that it didn't stay a long time, on the shelves or some warehouse. Most people don't know that, but the capsule protects the fish oil from oxidation only in the fridge. So the gelatin works as a protective cover only in the fridge.
So if you're getting capsules, keep the capsules in the fridge.
Yes, definitely.
But you don't know where it's been prior to getting to your house, basically. That's the problem.
Yeah, this is why I prefer the liquid, because the liquid, it's safe until you open it.
So you recommend liquid form in a glass container.
Now you have a glimpse of the amount of research behind every supplement, the dosage, timing, storage, even the brand. This complexity is why most people fail with supplements. To win with your supplements, you must simplify your path. To get my entire supplement routine and the list of brands I'm using, go to wellnessmessiah.com/list. This research is what I've been doing with my clients since 2007, and I don't work nor am affiliated with any supplement company. Now, let's cover the third common mistakes most people make. Buying the wrong omega-3 containing product. You see, fish oil is not the only omega-3 supplement that you can buy. Now, let's analyze different omega-3 supplements and products, their benefits and also their downsides, including products for vegans. Because if you're a vegan, you may not be able to consume fish oil. Let's cover product by product, starting with krill oil.
One of your original questions was krill oil versus fish oil.
Yes.
And DHA specifically in phospholipid form, it's more bioavailable. If you're comparing exact quantity or concentration in triglyceride form versus phospholipid form. However, krill oil supplements are so low dose, and also krill oil supplements are notoriously rancid. I haven't found a good krill oil supplement. I pretty much stay away from it. I mean, if you smell it too, it just smells rancid.
Krill oil. It's a phosphatidylcholine supplement with a bit of omega-3. Fish oil gives you the mass of omega-3, and krill oil will give the fish oil the delivery system of omega-3 into the brain. In other words, it will help you transport omega-3 to the brain better, but you're going to get very little omega-3 to improve your omega-3 status.
What about like krill oil? Like
The issue with krill oil is that you get very little omega-3. Krill has the phospholipids. You get it in a better form, but a bit of it. In net, omega-3, you get very little. And I think the research supports more the amount than the form. There are debates about how protected it is against oxidation. Some says that it has perfect oxidation. Others says that there is something called astaxanthin. It's an antioxidant that's supposed to protect the krill oil.
Amazingly, I watched Rhonda's interview after I recorded this segment, which is from my course. We've reached telepathically the same exact conclusions about krill oil.
And let me ask you a question. Fish oil, is cod liver oil, would that be under the same category or no?
Yeah.
Same as fish oil.
Cod liver oil, as the name suggests, is extracted from the liver of cod fish. This extraction process results in a product that contains fat-soluble vitamins, such as vitamin A, vitamin D, in addition to these very precious omega-3 fatty acids. However, cod liver oil typically has lower concentration of omega-3 fatty acids compared to regular fish oil, and personally, I'm not a fan of vitamin A supplementation that comes with this cod liver oil, unless there is a specific need, since vitamin A can be harmful. Additionally, the vitamin D content in cod liver oil, in my opinion, is not sufficient to address a significant vitamin D deficiency. Therefore, personally, I prefer fish oil in most situations because it provides a higher concentration of omega-3 supplement, offering the highest value for the cost without unnecessary vitamin A. And of course, if you decide to buy cod liver oil, still you must prevent this aforementioned oxidation issue, since it is too, similar to fish oil, is easily oxidized. So besides taking fish oil supplements that are not oxidized, what about plant-based omega-3? Sources such as chia seeds, walnuts, and flax seeds. You probably heard of them. So you probably know by now that these do not contain active forms of omega-3. They contain inactive form of omega-3 that the body has to convert into this marine form of omega-3. Therefore, your ability to produce active omega-3 depends on your inner conversion, on your body's natural ability to convert these. And this is what we are going to discuss now, because this is critical. So now we have two problems. First, your body's conversion process is a bit inefficient. All human beings are not very efficient in converting omega-3 from plants to marine omega-3. But there is another big issue that I rarely hear anybody speaks about. Let's hear what happens exactly from Dr. Niels Holm, a scientist who has been researching omega-3 for over 20 years.
For the omega-3s, the conversion from the shorter chain to the longer chain is really quite lousy. And there is a competition with omega-6s also. And since humans started to consume huge amounts of omega-6, then that is in a very strict competition with the elongation of ALA. And fundamentally, we have to take in the long chain omega-3 fatty acids.
These enzymes that convert plant omega-3 into marine omega-3, DHA and EPA, also process omega-6 from plants. Meaning, if you consume a lot of plant-based omega-6, like most people do, you saturate these enzymes with excessive work. Essentially, you block your ability to produce active omega-3. What does this mean? If your diet is high in omega-6, it will compete with plant-based omega-3 for conversion. So this means that regardless of your gender, and even regardless of how much omega-3 you receive from plants, it becomes even harder for your body to convert these plant-based omega-3 into marine, DHA and EPA omega-3. And the irony is that those who take plant-based omega-3 supplements are usually vegans and vegetarians. And these people, what they usually consume? diet high in nuts, seeds, and vegetable oils. These foods are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which are going to saturate the enzymes that they need to convert the omega-3 in their plant-based omega-3 supplement into the active form EPA and DHA. So this is a problem. However, there is a better option for vegetarians and vegans: algae oil, which contains active form of omega-3 that is not dependent on the body's conversion. This is excellent. And algae, by the way, is how the fish get their omega-3 to begin with. So here, with the algae oil, we are getting straight to the source. So what you must know if you decide to take algae oil. Now, what about algae oil as a source of omega-3? Algae oil does contain active forms of omega-3, DHA and EPA. And you've heard experts emphasize the importance of getting both EPA and DHA, with the main focus actually on EPA, which the body can convert very easily to DHA.
Made that decision mainly based on the data that I'm aware of, looking at comparison of people doing that anywhere from 2 to 4 grams of EPA per day compared to SSRIs. The data are, by my read, are remarkable.
Now, algae oil typically provides less EPA compared to fish oil supplements and more DHA. And remember, your body can convert EPA into DHA very well, but the reverse conversion is quite poor. In other words, you may not get the ratios that today's experts recommend and take for their own bodies. And remember, it's the EPA, not the DHA, that has shown a better protection against cardiovascular disease. So we need a good amount of EPA too to gain all the benefits of omega-3. Keep this in mind if you choose algae oil over fish oil. This also means that you may need to take higher amounts of algae oil to reach your daily EPA quota or target. Of course, any DHA in EPA is better than nothing, as long as the oil isn't oxidized. Worth noting that algae oil is a bit more prone to oxidation compared to fish oil. DHA is slightly more prone to oxidation compared to EPA, and because algae is high in DHA, it means that algae oil as well is a bit more susceptible to oxidation compared to fish oil. This means that when purchasing algae oil, you should be extremely cautious about the brand that you buy, and you need to do the research that is needed. Ideally, buy from a seller that stores the supplement in a refrigerator, and refrigerate the capsules immediately upon receiving your package. You can try opening one capsule, smell it, and taste again. Personally, after I compared various capsules for rancidity, I noticed that a fresh omega-3 gives my body a relaxing effect, and also there is no tingling sensation in my throat, so maybe you can use this guideline when you buy algae oil as an omega-3 supplement.